Today on Banter with Bussy, we're going to make a shiv.
We're going to be installing what is advertised as a 200 liter per hour pump from Deechworks. There's the part number. I think this is probably pretty similar to the Walbro 255 liter per hour. The pressure ratings and the flow ratings, those are dependent on pressure. So if you're running a lower pressure system like the Mazda, you're going to get a little bit more flow out of it. This should be a big enough pump for us. We don't want to go too big because then you have other types of problems. Fuel hanger. This is one of two different types of fuel hangers you can get at O'Reilly's. I took it apart and the downside is it doesn't fit. So if you look on the inside of there, you can't really Dremel this out to make it fit because then you lose your sealing on your cavity that actually holds the fuel pressure. So that's not going to work. We're stuck with whatever comes from the factory, if you can still get it. This housing, it has a jet siphon pump. That's what this little thing is here on the side. What happens is fuel that's returned from the fuel pressure regulator comes in through a cavity and shoots straight out here into this basket at a really high velocity. And as that fuel shoots through this section, extra fuel is drawn from the other side of the tank, the other saddle of the tank, and it's also kind of blown into this side of the tank. So that's how it kind of pumps from one side to the other. It's really important that you have the right amount of fuel flowing through here, because if you have too much pressure or too much flow, this top will blow off. And if you have too little, you're not going to siphon from the other tank. So getting that right is kind of crucial. So when we're going from a much smaller pump to a even slightly bigger pump, we've got to have everything proportionally sized. So how we do that, and there's differing opinions on what the right size is. There is a really tiny little hole in here, and people say to enlarge that with an 1/8 inch drill bit. That seems a little large in proportion to everything else. I'd like to do a little bit smaller than 1/8, but we're running into a problem where I can't get a drill bit that'll reach down a little smaller than an 1/8. So here's a 7/64. Just for example, the actual cavity I need to drill is right there. So getting that in your drill and getting in a position where you can actually drill that, that's realistically impossible. You're not going to be able to get that centered. It's too tight. So what do? Do you drill it bigger? I don't know. I might have to.
Well, here's what I'm going to try next. I have a pick that I got from Harbor Freight. It was a two-sided pick, 90 degree on one end and straight on the other. I cut the 90 degree side off and I'm shaving down the straight portion so it's nice and straight and sharp. My thought, maybe we can just melt the hole we need. Yay, microscopic hole is bigger now. The best way to get these plastic fittings off, fittings in quotes I guess, score them with a razor blade. Don't go all the way through it, because if you nick the barb, then you're going to have sealing issues. So I've got the very bottom cut all the way through, but the rest of the way up above the barb, I've just kind of got a little slash cut in it. I'm going to get a screwdriver in there and I'm going to split it apart further. Now for installing the corrugated line. DeWalt 20 volt heat gun on the high setting, about this far away. Spin it there for about 30-40 seconds, and then it'll push on the barb. Kind of consider how you're going to orient these clips just in case you want to remove them down the road. You want to be able to have it in an orientation where you can easily kind of pop off this side here, so think about that when you install them. Hi guys, 2 weeks later. Don't heat up your corrugated tubes for 30-40 seconds, that's too long. About 20 seconds is good. Fortunately, Deechworks is awesome and hooked us up with some spares, and we're back in business. So I'm test fitting how I have my filter and pump oriented, because there are 3 different ways you can technically install it. I think I'm happy with this. Look at that. I'm happy to have everything back together. Fits as expected. Everything looks good. Looking forward to getting this installed.